You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Dean Johnson.
From the AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AfterBuzz TV's The Amazing Race After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AfterBuzz TV's The Amazing Race After Show.
Hey, hey, hey! Bing is for doing. Thank you. Thank you. Bing is for doing, and tonight we're doing The Amazing Race in a big way. I'm Rachel Reilly Villegas, and this is my fabulous co-host for the evening.
And also husband, Brendon Villegas.
Oh, way to throw that in there, just in case nobody knew. So tonight we are talking about TAR 21. Woo! Let's give it up. So basically, last week, we'll get down to business, Brendon.
Okay.
Last week, the twins won the Express Pass, and Amy and Daniel were in last place. I love them. I'm so sad that Amy and Daniel had to go this past week. It was
especially when they almost won the very first
Oh
leg.
my God, ridiculous, right?
Yes.
So this season of The Amazing Race has been very, I feel like it's kind of ruthless. Like, Amy and Daniel told the team in the first week where to go to, where the pit stop was. And they told them where the final clue was. And the team outran them because Amy couldn't run fast. Then last week, we saw Amy and Daniel, getting behind just because of they were fighting so hard. So it was really sad to see. But good season, The Amazing Race. Tonight, they are in Indonesia, in Java.
Indonesia.
That's what I said.
Indonesia.
Whatever. Java, Indonesia. So, Brendon, what do you think about Indonesia?
Well, first of all, I think from a traveling standpoint, you're somebody who's coming into a country that speaks a language that is completely different from probably anything you know. Most Americans can kind of get by with some Spanglish and can do okay in a lot of Latin countries, but you go someplace like Indonesia or any of these Polynesian countries, people are going to struggle with the language. And I think you saw the girls, right, the blonde girls, they were really having a very difficult time.
Yeah, throughout this entire leg. It's crazy because I feel like in The Amazing Race, when you're actually traveling and you're on the show, like there's so much that we as viewers don't get to see, and that actually being on the race that we can see from behind the scenes. So sometimes I'm wondering, they had this huge, long plane ride, but when they wake up in the morning, are they really relaxed? Are they really ready to go? And I think it's very interesting how this season, they don't really show how long the pit stops were. And I think they did that in our season, too. They haven't shown how long the pit stops were. Were they 12 hours? Were they 2 hours? And in the first few pit stops, they're really short.
Yeah, I think in the first part of all of the Amazing Race seasons, I think they're a lot quicker. They drag out because they want people to, I think, to finally figure out what it's about. And there's some long legs going on. But, yeah, ultimately, you got to realize that a lot of people are giving it their all, but they have no idea what's coming. Because in 3 legs in the Amazing Race, you're not really racing for that long.
No.
You're just now figuring out that, man, I'm starting to get tired. My clothes are starting to stink. I think that some of these people are in for a little bit of a shock.
I think so, too. And you know what is crazy to me? Okay, so we see the twins leave first, and then we see the Texas people leave right behind them, and the Chippendales right behind them. They're in this alliance, this 3-team alliance right now, and they're basically having an alliance with the first 5 teams. Everyone in the front of the pack, they're making this alliance with. This is crazy to me. You're racing against, first of all, one team that's racing for $2 million, not just $1 million, but $2 million, and then you're racing for $1 million, and they're making these alliances. They're like, let's wait on the other teams. Let's wait. Let me tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go get a translation book and start asking people questions. I'm not wasting any precious time waiting for another team.
Well, I guess what I don't understand is you see the very first episode, you see a team that literally runs by a girl who is a double amputee, who if you're going to give it to anybody, it's going to be this girl. And they're the people that gave you directions in how to find that clue.
Right.
So obviously we saw a very ruthless move right off the bat. So you kind of would think that these people aren't going to be so apt to want to make alliances and be all friendly and buddy-buddy with people when they've already seen somebody play the game like that early on.
Right. It is ridiculous to me. I don't understand the logic behind some of these people. It brings up the question, and if you guys are listening, it's 424-256-1729. Give us a call. So are they dumb for making these alliances? Like, is this a smart game move for all of the teams in this season to make these alliances?
I really, personally, from somebody who's played Big Brother and Amazing Race, and realize that sometimes alliances work, sometimes they really don't matter. Amazing Race, alliances really don't do anything. All they do is give you somebody to talk to at the airport.
Right.
So for the most part, these people don't have to worry about it. But having said that, if I'm still racing, I'm trying to get first place, and there's somebody right behind me, and I know that I can use that U-turn, I'm using that U-turn. I'm not thinking twice.
Absolutely. And how ridiculous. Okay, you know that you're racing for a leg with a U-turn, and you're making this alliance with these teams, and you're going to go and let them, ultimately get in front of you. Like, you're giving them a shot to U-turn your team, which is ridiculous. These girls, these twins, just won a leg. So they're going to be a target for a U-turn right off the bat. I mean, you would think anyone playing this game smartly would think that. So what I think is hilarious, Abby and Ryan make a comment that said, we think it's really hard for couples. Duh. Like, when they said that, I was thinking to myself, are you serious right now? Because obviously it's the hardest for couples. Like, you always say it, Brendon,
Well, I always say that couples in the Amazing Race have it the most difficult because guys, we operate on a different wavelength than girls. So every time in a problems case scenario, we are usually, our stress level is super high, but we're thinking about how can we get through this. Rachel, and a lot of girls react the same way. They're very emotional, and they tend to react. And it's mostly like 90% emotion, 10% logic. So that she's just going with whatever's coming out of her mouth. So sometimes I think that for guys and girls, we need to both figure out how the other is thinking a little bit better when we're out there on the course to be able to talk to each other, because sometimes we lose it. Yeah,
totes. I mean, it's weird because
don't say totes, please. Totes my goats. No, please.
Totes is a good word. But it's weird because, you think about this. They're racing against these two jacked Chippendale guys. Like, these guys are ridiculous. They are they're 6'4", they're jacked.
Hey, guys. I think we have someone on the line.
Yay!
All right. Is this Cerny?
Hello?
Hello. Welcome to AfterBuzz TV.
Yeah, who is this?
This is Rachel and Brendon. You're on live with Rachel and Brendon on AfterBuzz TV, the Amazing Race show.
There you go.
Hi, it's Cindy and Ernie. We're calling in for the show.
Cerny!
All right, Cerny.
Hey!
Hey, yay! Good. Well, we're just talking about beautiful Indonesia and how couples have it way harder than any other team. Hello?
Maybe you guys can relate.
Oh, hey, sorry. Okay, I think we have to not watch you guys. How are you guys?
Good. Yeah, because there's a delay, I think. We're so good. I love Cerny. We are on with Cerny, Cindy, and Ernie, who were the winners of the Amazing Race 19.
Yes.
Yay!
And
Hey, guys.
All right, there we go.
Guys, this is ridiculous. They kicked butt. Cindy was ridiculous on the show. Cindy, you are super competitive, and I love that about you. Like, what do you think about these teams that are making alliances? Like, there's a 5-team alliance right now. Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, it's too early in the game to really make any alliances, especially because this is the time that you get ahead and you start making your own strategies and learning how you and your partner work out. So it's a little crazy to me that immediately the first 5 teams that got on that first train just started teaming up.
Right, totally. I agree with you 100%. I'm thinking, like, if they're smart, they're going to make this deal, but then they're going to go and they're going to backstab each other right as soon as they get to that U-turn, and they're going to turn someone in the first group on the first train away and make them do the U-turn.
I mean, I think the alliance is simply just for that moment, right? Just so that first group of teams can make it through the next episode, and then the second group of teams had a more difficult time. But that alliance, I'm sure, is not going to keep into the next show.
Yeah, that's true. And that's kind of what I'm feeling, too. With that. You can already tell that toward the end of the episode that they're kind of, they ditched the twins, who was like the leader of their alliance. And then it seems like toward the end, the twins are like, screw this. We're getting first place next time. We're going to U-turn someone if we need to.
Hey, Rach, so I got a question for Cerny. So far... Yes, they are Cerny. Sandy and Ernie. Rachel has named them, dubbed them.
Hashtag Cerny.
Hashtag Cerny. So, from you guys, what you've seen so far, who is the most likable characters on the show right now that you like, that the team that you've grown to kind of like start to be on their side? And who are the people that you most feel for the editing from a player standpoint?
Yeah, I mean, I think the twins... I think is Cindy said it to me earlier, so they're a very polarizing team, right? You either like them or you don't like them. We've seen a lot of information of people saying they love them and other people saying that they're kind of annoying because just the way they act. But I like them. I think their edit is pretty good. Phil Kagan seems to be retweeting him like a mother. So they're getting a nice little added bonus from him.
I also like Trey and Lexi. I think they look so super sweet, just as young love, and they're getting a really cute edit. And the Chippendales are just having fun with everything.
I love
great edit, and they're also a fun team to watch. I like hearing all the different things, the one-liners that come out of their mouth.
Yeah, they're hilarious. I think the Chippendales are one of my favorite teams right now.
You know, and before the season started, I was like, oh, I'm not going to like these guys. You know, Chippendales, I figured A, personalities, just two guys that I wouldn't, relate to or like. But I don't know, love them. I think they're funny and good team to watch.
Yeah, now I have another good question for all of y'all and for everyone out there. Call in and answer this one too. Okay, so if you have the opportunity, you're in this first group to do the U-turn. Are you going to U-turn the second group and totally screw them over? Or are you going to not use it? Or are you going to U-turn someone in the first group?
For me, it depends, right? It depends on so many different things. I mean, that's a very difficult question to answer.
Strategically, if you totally screw over another team on the second train, you have the opportunity to get rid of that team completely, and it's a blind U-turn.
Yeah, but
totally.
It depends on where you're at.
If there's a team that you hate, you would go ahead and just use that U-turn and get rid of them.
Right, exactly.
You guys know, it is pretty early in the show to be doing anything too crazy.
Yeah.
At least in my opinion, I feel like those U-turns and anything that you want to really put to jeopardize another team, you wait till a little bit later on in the show, because right now you're just going to create enemies that maybe you don't really need to do at this point.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, that's so true, Ernie, because leg 3 is so soon for a U-turn. I mean, we've seen and you guys had it, was it 4 or 5 even with your first U-turn, right?
We had a U-turn in episode 7 and episode 8.
Oh, okay. So yeah, that's even farther.
Yeah.
And ours was
and then when you got it in 8, you knew it was probably not coming back again. So you might as well just use it or lose it.
Right. Totally.
Yeah, I mean, even from a strategic standpoint, for us, as coming from a Big Brother standpoint, I think about game strategy, and I think sometimes a U-turn, if you're in the right position, can be used to eliminate players that you might want to get rid of, because you might put somebody all the way in the back who has no chance to come back from it,
Exactly. And that's what you have, especially this early in the game, you have to think about that. I think it's ridiculous that nobody in that first group U-turned anyone. I mean, not even to mess up their game or anything. So let's go. But
again, just to chime in with one more comment, it was just there was too many teams that the lineup had flipped, right? So if there was a really strong team that maybe won those first 2 legs, you're like, okay, these guys are tough. Look at the Chippendales would have won those first 2 legs, and then they were behind me. Then I'd be like, okay, maybe we got something here to do.
But then it's a double U-turn, so then they can U-turn someone else,
right?
And you're bringing them in. I don't know. It's too risky, I think, for the first group to U-turn anybody.
Well, the truth of the double U-turn is as a team that would be out front, you would have to U-turn somebody you didn't really want to screw over, but you knew would screw over the person that you really wanted to screw over.
That's totally true.
That's usually how you have to play.
Brendon's ruthless.
Yeah, I mean, if we're playing ruthless.
Yeah, right. So let's talk this Roadblock, which I don't even, are you kidding me? Balanced meal, really? Like, they have to balance 20 plates and serve it. It's like waitressing.
Yeah, I've served before.
I feel like you've done some waitressing in the day, or what?
Right? Exactly. I worked in Vegas for 4 years as a cocktail waitress. And on top of it, we were balancing martini glasses and bottles of champagne. Like, come on, 20 plates. I could do that in my sleep with my hands tied behind my back. I'm
Patron in your head.
right.
Hey, what's she talking about? Las Vegas? I was 16 working at Hometown Buffet. Let me tell you, I balanced way more plates than you would ever touch.
And that was just all those cans of Red Bull you were balancing.
That's true.
Exactly.
That's true.
Yeah, I just feel like this Roadblock, I feel like, is not a crazy roadblock like what we've had in season 19 and 20, what you were seeing. Even in season 18 on The Amazing Race, you weren't seeing roadblocks like this. I feel like, I mean, maybe it's just one of those roadblocks because the detour is going to be more difficult. But, I mean, what do you guys think about the roadblock?
The detour wasn't even tough. I feel like this whole season so far, and I'm interested in your thoughts too, the tasks don't seem that tough. Like the bull riding last week, all they had to do was sit on a motorcycle, and then they didn't even have to beat the bull to keep going. They just had to sit on the motorcycle. And then, like today, I can hold a coconut on my head and get an egg cooked on it. Like that seems so easy compared to carrying beds for a mile, or
Right. Exactly. I absolutely agree with you. I mean, I remember I had to balance a glass bottle on my head in the third leg. Like this.
And do a whole dance.
Right. Exactly. Do a whole choreographed dance. Like this stuff, balancing 20 plates. And if one plate drops, you have to go back and get the plates again. It's like, come on. We had a table full of bottles that were glass that we had to balance on our head, do a dance. And if you ran out of your bottles, you get a 2-hour penalty. I didn't see anyone it seemed like everyone ran through that challenge really quickly too.
Well, I got a question.
We watched a show with Brittany, and she said she did it in 5 minutes.
No.
I don't think there was a single task we did in 5 minutes.
Ever. Even in our fastest leg. I can't imagine a 5-minute task.
Yeah, is it so from a standpoint of watching it, having played and having also now be a viewer, what do you guys think you like to see more? Do you like to see the players doing these brutal tasks that are like killing them, and you're seeing people sweating to death and like people falling off? Are you liking to see that, or you want to see the mental tasks, or you want to see both, like go back and forth?
Well, if it's a mental task, I like to see them sweat it out, like just with the pressure from the mental task. And I like to see a lot of physical tasks too, but sometimes when you do the physical tasks, you kind of basically lump out the women sometimes. And I don't like that. I feel like you should give them an equal chance and whatever it is. But I don't know, Cindy, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I like to see a mix of both. So physical for sure, and then also mental. But within physical, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be able to carry the strongest thing. Just something that makes you look silly and stupid and in a funny costume. Like one of my favorite tasks is a couple seasons ago, they had to get dressed up in kangaroo suits and run around the street. I love that.
That
one.
was so amazing.
So funny.
Yes, that was so, and that made you. It was like a feel good, fun challenge. It made you laugh. The people's comments were amazing. So this, I agree with you 100%, Cindy. It's you either have to see the funny costumes with the funny comments and have a feel-good, fun moment, family warming moment, or these competitions need to be hard because these balancing 20 plates and riding on a motorcycle against racing a bull, which you don't even have to race. I don't want to see this, especially after knowing how hard it was for myself and how hard I'm sure it was for you guys also. It's I don't want to see these teams getting away with what seems like easy challenges.
What did you think the merry-go-round and making the balloon animals was difficult?
I mean, I guess that was, I feel like it was more of a challenge, and you add all the stress and the pressure, I think that I could see how that would be something that was more interesting, and it was mostly funny to watch them try to make the balloon animals. Right? Because, it's funny, you put these two rocker guys trying to make balloon animals, people are going to laugh. But I think like balance. I wasn't impressed with this task. And I'm just surprised that this was the thing they had to do. Like, at least they could have made them eat something after they, like, cleared the 20 plates, plus eat them, or I don't know. Just my opinion. But
or, like, bust them on your head or something. I don't know. Just something, like, sillier than just carrying them.
Right, exactly. And, you know, I thought it was funny the way that the teams arrived, and you could see, almost automatically, it was the Chippendales and the guy, the divorcee couple.
Hey, so let's get back on topic. I have a question that Rachel brought up and I talked about during the show. So U-turns. So now we're looking at the U-turns now are anonymous. Here's another thing that could work to somebody's benefit. Do you think that they should put the faces back on the U-turns and let people know who leaving the U-turns?
So I guess I expressed my opinion about this to Cindy when we were watching the show, because I just felt normally the anonymous U-turn, in my opinion, is kind of it's not worth it to actually have an anonymous U-turn, because you either know who did it and you're pissed at them right there, or you're going to find out, you know, the next leg, or maybe even back at the hotel if you sneak a couple words into somebody who did it, and so you're going to be pissed then. So it's either just delaying how mad you are from one point to another point. Yeah. But I think it worked well in that episode, actually, because it screwed over Gary and Will for actually U-turning the wrong team. So I don't think the show meant it to do that, but it actually worked out for that episode.
That is true.
To make it more interesting at the end.
Exactly. I think I completely agree with you. It made it very interesting with the final team that when, you know, Gary and Will had to make their choice for a U-turn. However, I think that the reason they do a blind U-turn, in my personal opinion, is because they want to have teams U-turning people. Because when it's a U-turn and it's like a slap in your face U-turn, teams get pissed. And some teams are scared to do that. So I think this is encouraging the teams that would normally be scared to U-turn to go ahead and U-turn, you know, because nobody knows exactly who's U-turning or when they're using the U-turn. Any of those first 5 teams could have U-turned anyone from the last 6 or, you know, the last 4 teams, and nobody would have really known.
Here's a better question. If you create a task right before the U-turn that is just like brutally exhausting, and that each team comes out of it and is just like dead, and they think it could be like a foot race to the finish line, do you think that U-turn's getting used more frequently?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think it would get used more. So, you know, I think it's a good point, Rachel, that you made on teams that would normally not use a U-turn would probably use it if it's blind. Now, we used it, and the team that we used it on called us bastards on the show, which that kind of sucks. But, you know,
you're going to find out who used it. Either way.
Yeah. So you either get mad right there or you get mad later. But I don't know. I guess the U-turn is a tool in the game, and if you're running against the game, then you use every tool that you have possible. It's not like you would turn down an express pass if you want it.
Yeah, exactly. I completely agree with you. I think that it's so crazy because if you have the opportunity to actually U-turn and use a U-turn, I just think it's so crazy when I see team after team after team who are like, oh, we don't need to use it. We're so far ahead. Great, you're nice, but it's especially with the fact that it's a blind U-turn. And who cares if you make a team mad? You're walking away with $1 million in 6 months. Do you really care about that team that called you a bastard? You know what I mean? It's like, who cares? You're racing for $1 million.
Yeah, and you guys got U-turned, right? And then turned around and U-turned somebody else?
Absolutely. Yeah. I would have U-turned Vanessa and Ralph if I was the first team and they were 8 hours behind me. I would have U-turned them. But that's just me. I'm maybe a little bitter. No, but we got U-turned by the San Diego cops. Yeah. We got U-turned by the Border Patrol. And Brendon and I got to the U-turn and we were pissed. But the first thing I did, I'm like, I'm not letting this get me down. I'm U-turning a team behind me. I had the opportunity to screw someone else over, so I was going to do it. And, you know, I think that especially when you know that you're going to have to be racing against someone behind you and it's going to come down to the final 2, you have to U-turn. You have to be really smart and paying attention every second in that game because, like, you know, Will and Gary found out, like, they U-turned the wrong team. If they were paying better close attention, they might have U-turned the girls instead.
And I was thinking that same thing. It was shocking to me that they didn't know where the other teams were in the orders, I felt like most of the time, they keep the leg pretty close to each other, like where everything happens. Especially if you're in those little kind of like biking systems there, you're not going to be like miles apart from each other. You probably saw somebody leave, this task and go to the next task. So I was kind of surprised they didn't see that team, but I guess you never really know.
Yeah, totally. I agree. Well, let's move on to the Detour. So it was what? It was cook an egg or what was it? Lion head or egghead? Egghead or lion head? Right. So this, I thought the same thing, Cindy, like we've been saying. It's ridiculous, right? Because these tasks are not that hard. I mean, if you have to balance an egg on your head with a fire pot,
they just held the coconut.
Yeah, that's true. They just held it, huh?
But hold the coconut on your head.
Yeah, I mean, it was so crazy. I hope that the eggs were like in a far off place that they couldn't find, because frying an egg is so easy.
That takes like 2 seconds. Ernie and I totally would have picked egghead. Which one would you guys have picked?
Absolutely, 100%. We talked about this. I said egghead because I would have read in the clue that it talked about in Lionhead where you had to walk in a parade, stop, and do some like choreographed moves. I would have read that as like either too complicated or the lion head is like really heavy. It just seems like a longer task. Sometimes I feel like when you read the clues, you can tell what task is going to be really quick and easy and what task is going to take a little more work.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah,
They try to pick a physical demanding one with a more mentally challenging.
The egg one isn't even mentally challenging. The other thing with the lion one, if you notice, they didn't even have to memorize the steps. They had a guide telling them exactly what to do. And that was kind of like, really? You don't even have to memorize it?
Yeah.
Because you guys had to do...
The whole thing was that they had to put the lion mask with the bar in their mouth, and then if they leaned too far forward, the whole thing would fall down. It was pretty heavy on top of their head, but I don't know if it was that challenging.
Exactly. I mean, I feel like I could kind of sense the challenge a little bit from the cute little Texas girl, because she sounded like it was hard for her to do, but the rest of the team seemed to breeze through it, and Abby and Ryan, every week I know that they are the team to beat, because every challenge they just do it and they don't complain. If it's hard, you can't really tell that they're having problems with it.
Yeah, and actually, we met up with them the weekend of your wedding. We went out with them on Friday night, and they're both very physically fit. They're very sharp. They trained a lot for the show.
Oh, really?
So I definitely think that they're a team to beat.
Nice, yeah. Nice. See, I think that definitely does help. If you have the chance to train for The Amazing Race, I think you absolutely need to. I mean, didn't you guys, you trained for a year or something?
We trained for a solid 6 months.
You guys went to...
Big Brother, you didn't train enough in the backyard of Big Brother?
You guys went to a remote island in the Philippines and trained for 5 years. No. We know it. Come on, just tell us the truth. Professor Xavier was there, Cyclops, the whole X-Men.
You got me in a little tiger cage and
I love it. Yeah, I mean, we tried to train as much as we could. Like, I would run, I would do all my runs with a backpack on my back, and I would try to put 10 pounds in it or whatever I could do. But Brendon and I didn't really have the opportunity to train. And I think it really does make a difference.
Hey, Rocky, let's get back on topic.
I'm on topic.
I'm just kidding. Hey, but no. No, but what I wanted to ask is, since we're winding down here, is about the show. Who do you guys see as the team that's probably going to have a mental break here soon? Is there any teams you see that are straining, and the relationship is probably going to be heavily affected by this experience?
Just whispered to me here, and I think it's pretty true. The super fans, man, Gary and Will, I don't know, their wits are kind of coming out a little bit. They're losing it.
Yeah.
You could see it a little bit when they were doing the balloon challenge. They started freaking out, and then today, they were freaking out. They also got U-turn. I don't know. I like them. I love watching super fans on the show because I'm a super fan and know every detail about, season, and I love to watch people who just have that type of passion for the show. But I think I think you can start to see the foundation cracking there.
I think Yuri and Will are, getting that reality check, and this is a lot more difficult than what we did in our backyard when we set up our little, hula hoop contest.
I definitely.
You know what's the best? The cast nickname for them is the best. They call them Jack and the Beanstalk.
That's so funny.
That
Jack
is
and the
so good.
Beanstalk.
It's so true too. I definitely could see them breaking down. I think the twins are gonna go at it against each other. I think.
I would love to see them in India.
Oh man,
what would they be like in India?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I hope they go there. They'll probably rock out that leg. Like.
Oh no, I don't think they're going to India.
No, because we just did.
Yeah.
I think they're going to Bangladesh next.
Really?
I know. I'm
I don't
jealous.
picture them though, but.
Well,
Yeah,
that
the preview.
Yeah, the preview.
We're like, hey, whoa,
Yeah,
whoa,
right?
whoa, hey, whoa, lockdown, whoop, whoop, whoop.
Oh my God. So, and what did you guys think about this like ridiculous? The whole time I'm telling Brendon, I'm like, this is produced, the race for the, final leg for who's going to get eliminated. I told Brendon, I'm like, this is great editing. This is produced. But no, it had to have been legit because they were like following each other on those little bikes at the very end of the leg. What did you guys think about that? It was so intense. I was dying.
That was totally legit, and I think the production, the cameramen, and everybody that was working in that situation, handled it amazingly.
Oh, they did such an awesome job. We actually watched tonight with Brittany, and she told us it was seconds that they were apart and got eliminated.
No way,
So,
wow.
I would die. I would die.
I was literally I don't even know what I would do if that.
I think I would throw my legs down like Fred Flintstone and stop the rickshaw and physically pick him up and turn him around.
God, seriously. That has to be the worst luck possible because you're racing for elimination at this point. So not only are you freaked out about, not coming into the final leg, but you're also freaked out because you might be eliminated. Your driver's all over the place. These girls weren't even U-turned, and they catch up with the team that was U-turned.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
So bad.
It's pretty bad. I think that they just couldn't find that U-turn map. The worst part is their driver actually took one of the teams from the first group all around the city, and so he knew everywhere they were going. He just didn't take them there.
What?
There was some communication issues, right?
So now that brings up a very good point. What do you guys feel? Because when I was watching them, one of the things I kept thinking about was they seem to be having a lot of communication difficulties. And so from a player's perspective, I think that being able to be versatile in the countries and talk to people and use, whatever skill you have, if you're great at charades, use your charades,
Yeah, we drew pictures for our guys. I felt like, Brittany's a nice girl. I just felt like maybe she was a little bit maybe naive in thinking that those people would speak English much better than they actually did. And I don't think the guy that was driving them spoke any English at all from what I could gather. To stop for 5 minutes and go ask somebody who maybe spoke English to kind of help translate for a second would have been the best stuff. Less intense.
Yeah, I agree with you, Ernie. I think that they should have asked for someone to help translate. I also think these two girls, I noticed when they were talking to the people that were of the native tongue, instead of saying it slower or doing charades like Brendon had said, they were yelling at them. They just kept yelling at people. They were like, no. And I think you can't communicate with anyone ever if you're yelling at them. They're not going to understand okay, yeah, you're under pressure, but is it better to yell at someone and tell them where to take you?
That's the American way. If you don't, somebody does not understand, you just yell and scream louder.
Yeah,
you pick something or punch something. Yeah, they obviously couldn't understand them in English, but if you yell at somebody, well, then they're not going to understand it all, and then they're going to be upset. So
exactly.
You just have to talk that way.
Exactly, and I think that really hurt them a lot too because. They had so much time, even if it took those guys 2 minutes to fry an egg, they had so much time to catch up and get ahead of them. I think that they just really fell behind because of their bad communication issues with everyone. So what do you guys predict for this season? Who do you think is the team to win, the team to beat?
I don't know. I think... Abby and Ryan obviously have a good shot. They're a strong couple. I think the couples this season have the strongest shot just because they all seem to be working very well together. So That's Trey and Lexi.
Mm-hmm.
But the real, the real,
a lot of the Beekman boys, but it seems like they're not getting on each other's cases, and usually a slow edit in the beginning means that they're going to be good at it later on. That's what I'm kind of thinking, but we'll see. The
real question is what team is Cerny willing to give their hearts to at this point? We want to know.
Well, our hearts were for Caitlin and Brittany because she's a hometown girl here, but now that she's out, I don't know. We got to
pick
a new team to
Who is in second?
I really like the Twins, though. I think they're fun
the Twins.
To watch.
I love the Twins.
I think they're going to be full of drama, and I think they're going to keep the season entertaining, definitely.
I love them. I think they're going to be so fun to watch, the Twins. I also love the Rocker guys just because they're I have no idea what to expect. The Chippendale guys have great one-liners, so I think they're my team to win this season, even though I think Abby and Ryan are really strong. I would love to see Abby and Ryan pull a Ralph and Vanessa, and I'd love to see them go at each other's throats.
What about the monster truck drivers? Nobody's got them?
Yeah, I'm kind of no. I think they're going to go out soon in the next few legs. I don't think they're going to be able to hold on very long.
Well, I was just think endurance. If there's older people competing, if at endurance something comes up, I mean, they both look in pretty good shape, but if there's something that requires long, physically grueling stuff.
He's a big guy.
Yeah.
He's a big guy.
Yeah, I feel like they don't read their clues that well. I don't know. Like, even in that papaya challenge or the fallopian tubes where they're eating it.
Oh, that's right.
He just went right in and didn't read the clues. But maybe they learned from it. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. Because you can always learn. I mean, Brendon and I had so many legs where we had to learn because of the mistakes we made. Oh, my God. Seriously, right? And, I mean, in our final leg, it was a misreading of a clue that really ultimately lost us the race. So I think you have to read these clues. And yeah, it's partially good luck, it's partially good drivers, but you know what? It's ultimately up to you and your team member to read the clue and make the best of whatever hand you're dealt with in that leg.
Yeah, this early on, you can go from all the way in the back to all the way in the front real fast. I mean.
Oh, for sure. I partially want to root for one of the underdogs.
Yeah.
One of the teams that we haven't seen much of, because I just think it's fun to be on your toes every episode and not know exactly who's going to win. Like in your season, Rachel and Dave won so many legs. After a while, I was like, all right, well, who's going to get out?
Yeah, exactly.
And it was starting to switch it up.
Yeah, we were the same way. We wanted to switch it up.
Right, I know.
Not that I don't love Rachel and Dave, but it's just more interesting when, winners get... different teams win.
Sure.
It is. I agree. And I think it's funny. Brendon and I were talking about this too. I noticed that in your season and also in our season that it seemed the teams are more competitive. This season, I just don't feel that the teams are as competitive.
Well, it's still early.
Yeah, that's true. Absolutely. So, do you guys have anything? How can we find you on Twitter, Cindy and Ernie?
I mean, I'm at Ernie, ERNIE _Halvo, HALVO. And Cindy?
I'm at Cindy, CINDY, C Halvo, HALVO.
Nice. And do you guys have any news or anything you guys want to share with the world of iTunes?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. We're going to Cambodia on Thursday to go invest in our social venture, hopefully. So if something comes from this visit out there, we're spending about 2 weeks to try to do some field research. If we get everything going there, then I'd love to share it more with the world, and hopefully people can come visit us at our social impact hotel that we're trying to start there.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. Congratulations, guys.
We promised that we would help people, and so now, almost a year later, we're getting all of our ducks in a row.
That's pretty cool.
Good for you guys. That's awesome.
Well, quack, quack.
Yeah, right. I love it. Well, listen, guys, go to iTunes, rate and comment. Give us a 5 if you love us. Tell a friend. It only takes a minute. Of course, it doesn't cost you anything. And if you guys will just please give us a 5 and say that we're the best AfterBuzz Amazing Race show you've ever heard, obviously. Ever. And you can find me on @Rachel Reilly on Twitter.
And you can find Brendon Villegas, BRENDON. That's enough time.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Cerny. We love you.
Yay, we love you guys.
Yay.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
We'll see you Thursday, hopefully.
Yes.
Bye.
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 From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff. We would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.